Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Awaken in 31 Days with Steve Farrell, co-founder of Humanities Team. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Carissa, and hey, everybody. And there was some live people here in the studio. Yeah, nice to see you all and all of you out on social media. And we're excited. We're amped to be here, huh, Carissa?
We are. And it was so exciting to have the watch party with your masterclass, Higher Self, Higher Purpose. And now this just feels like the next level. I'm Charissa Sims, live event host for Humanities Team, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to make conscious living prevalent worldwide by 2040. And I'm coming to you live from Lafayette, Colorado. I wanted to welcome those streaming live through the Humanities Team Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Stream Plus members that Steve said hi to in the green room with us. Thanks for being members. And I did want to do a special shout out to the Sign Network with John and Summer Raymer at sign.network. Because it's a live program, we will have time for comments and questions. And this is an incredible opportunity. Steve is such a busy man and has so much going on with a new book coming out. This is your opportunity to talk to him. So you can put it in the chat wherever you're watching and try to get it in within the first 30 to 40 minutes of the program, and you'll get your question answered by Steve. And many of you know Steve through his best selling book, A New Universal Dream, which I've read and I highly recommend because Steve goes deep into his personal stories, but also gives practical exercises that you can do just to live your best life. And he's also hosted many panels for the Global Oneness Summit, and that's coming up next month, right, Steve?
It is October 24 to October 26. Yeah, just around the corner. And this is the 16th annual, huh? So Global Oneness Day is on the map that we're even at the United Nations, I think, as a lot of people know, uh, talking to them about putting it on the UN calendar. And I think that's around the corner. So super exciting.
Yes, we'll keep you updated on that for sure. And today we're exploring something extraordinary, a brand new 31-day journey into spiritual practice and conscious living. The program, Awaken in 31 Days, is a sacred invitation for all of us to deepen our daily connection with the divine within and live from the truth of who we really are. And Steve, this program couldn't come at a better time. So, alongside this program, you're also releasing your brand new book, The Inner Way: Reclaim the Truth of Who You Are and Why You're Here, this October. So, we'll talk more about that in a bit. But let's begin with the first phase of the program, Awakening. So, these first 10 days, they feel like a doorway into remembering who we are as divine beings. Can you talk about what participants will experience in these opening days of the program?
You bet. Well, and again, big welcome to everybody. It's wonderful to be here with you. And this is live, so it's extra special. This isn't recorded. Um, so let me just share as we open up, if you're right this moment, like, do you know the U2 song, A Beautiful Day? So I was playing a little bit of it in the green room with us as we were coming on. So if you right now are there, okay, where, U2 is just, they're just like on full chorus, it's a beautiful day, right? Then you're there. Okay. That's where we go with this Awaken in 31 Day Challenge. And it's not something that is like for a module one day and then a day two and day three. The whole idea here in this 31 day challenge is that we are actually, divine beings, right? Here in the human form right now. And so things like, am I worthy? Right? Are you kidding me? Am I worthy? Hello? You are a divine, a living divine expression in a human body, right? Right now and every day and in this lifetime, right? And many of you are part of Humanity Stream Plus, and so as you know, we work with all of the great mediums, including evidential mediums. This is Suzanne Giesman and the near-death experience community, and they share, right? There's a revolving door. So we're in the non-physical realm, and then we're in the physical realm, and it's a very special moment when we're in the physical realm, when we have this opportunity to express this divinity, this divine being that we are, and where we live in the fullness of that. Then, like this song, this is one of many. There are a lot of songs that kind of go there that just sort of lift you up, like "Beautiful Day" from U2, where you're there. You're in this like super high vibration place, this super high intelligence place, this super sort of joyful expression place. And these things that so many people are feeling on the planet, of humdrum day and get out of bed, just sort of another day kind of thing, and thoughts about self-esteem, like, am I really important? And where there's maybe grief about some things that are going on earlier in life, these things just fall away like autumn leaves. They do, where we awaken and where we live consciously. So this Awaken in 31 day challenge, and it could be that sounds a little bit like it's just for people that are brand new to the conscious journey where they're just awakening. But this challenge actually is for everybody, including like myself. I've been on this journey for decades, and I would bet most of you have. So, and I think you'll get a lot out of it because we start with, of course, in module one, this is the whole we are divine expressions, right? We are each a unique expression of the divine, divinity itself, embodied, right? And that's, of course, where you're going to start in something like this. And then we go into the deeper things of the non-separation, where we're really letting all of, God's love, I'll call it, in. That is, of course, that's what one of the modules actually talks about, how love is foundational. So it's foundational. That means that's our basis. That means that's what we naturally express, right? So for somebody brand new, for somebody that's been on this journey for decades, it's just going right down into the fullness of what, candidly, the invitation in life is, right? It's why we embodied in the first place. Um, the co-founder with me of Humanity's Team is Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote the 9 series Conversations with God books. And one of the other books that he wrote is called Little Soul in the Sun, which really distills down all of what the 9 books are about, right? And Little Soul in the Sun is where this little soul in the heavenly realm is saying, I want to be the light. And God's saying, well, hey, little soul, you are the light. And little soul says, yeah, I'm the light, but I'm like a candle in the sun. There's nothing but light around here. And God says, oh, got it. So you want to be the light where there's an absence of light. Is that what you're telling me? Little soul says, yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. So then the little soul embodies, and look, here we are, right, on the earth, where there's an absence of light all over the place, right? In fact, the planet is very challenged, and this comes to one of the things you just in the question that you asked me, Charissa, is like, this is the time, right? Like, this is an important time, like for a 31 day awaken challenge, and it's an important time because it's not only a time for us to not to go way past questions like, am I worthy, or living in a humdrum life, to just really the full light expression of who we are with the tools and processes of what can take us there. And that's what the 31 day challenge is. And then, as you know, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and our big download that we got from the divine years ago was that in 15 years from now, 2040, that we'll reach tipping point, and that there'll be, which that's 8 to 10%, right? So we got 8 billion people on the planet. So that's around 800 million people then that are living consciously, where we're way past humdrum, we're way past am I worthy, and we're just living in the fullness of this light. We are that little soul that embodied, and bringing light and that expression of love and things to our full day. So that's what this challenge is. It's a beautiful little joyride that we go on together. One of the producers of the program here is Garth Catterall. He recorded it with me. It's beautiful. Each one of these exercises, I think you'll love it. It's free. It's free. So we're going to put it in the sign up, and it's just a little thing to sort of add a little joy to your day. And I hope and believe that at the end of the 31 days, you'll be turning on YouTube's Beautiful Day. You'll turn that music all the way up and you'll say, yep, I'm already there. Yep, I'm already there, because that's what conscious living is.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we do have a question from the chat. Ryan says, "Good morning from Victoria, Canada. I'm super excited for this. The format of a daily and cumulative learning check-in worked so well with the last two challenges. This is the third humanities team challenge, right, Steve? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and each one has gone in quite a different direction. The first one was really going down into like sacred pauses. And when we're eating, like conscious meals and things. The second one then did go in quite a different direction, and this one goes in a different direction still. So you could go through all three, and I think you'd get a lot out of it. And it's I think the reason we're doing these challenges now, a third one in 2025, is there are a lot of great books out and master classes and things and movies, right? But there's not enough of this just sort of really going down into the actual exercise of, okay, I am a divine expression, and where we're just really doing that together, where we're experiencing like divinity itself. And that's really the whole thing of just experiencing divinity itself, or experiencing that love is foundational, and just really going into that exercise all alone. Another one is like where we're a lighthouse under the world. So that was the little soul in the sun one, right? Where now we're not only in this place, but we're noticing that around us, like their neighbors, a lot of times people in our own home, partners sometimes your kids, certainly at work with coworkers, where you'll see a lot of coworkers often, right? Not looking so good, little challenged, right? And so this lighthouse exercise is where you're really noticing, where like that beam of light is just going around and you're just in this very high vibration place. And you're noticing how that's affecting other people, where they can see your heart open, you're in service, you're a loving presence, you're a positive influence, right? So these are just a few of the modules that I'm talking about here now.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for your question, Ryan. And it's such a good question because we have had these multiple challenges with humanities team that have been so inspiring and really wonderful to integrate into your life and very easy, I would say. I mean, the videos are fairly short, right, Steve?
Yeah, these are less than a couple of minutes, I think, or less than at max it would be 3 minutes. And the only reason that one would even be 2 or 3 minutes is I really do slow way down in these, in some of them, because some of what this is, where I'm talking about like a heart opening place, I'm just really going really, really, really slow, because there's some sort of deeper listening here going on, where that still small voice, right? That's the soul, where we're really down there in the depth of that still small voice, where we can it's not so small anymore, where we can actually feel that still small voice. So we're going down into that deeper place in some of these exercises, and I really go much slower than if you were to read the text. It would look like something quite short, but I'll sort of expand it out because I'm going so slow going through it, so we can really feel it, deeply feel what I'm talking about in the particular exercise.
Interesting. That has been coming up for me too, slowing down a lot. So that's really interesting that you brought that in as listening, the deep listening, so important. And realizing our own divinity is really, I mean, I would say a daily awareness and something that is challenging when you see our 3D image, when we have all of these problems. So I think it's even more exciting that you have these reminders for us.
Yeah, let me bring something in, Chris, that I find
Okay.
fascinating is like on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook and stuff out on social media. A lot of the stars, they call them influencers, right, that are really big. You see them out there, big audiences, right? sometimes in the millions. And almost always what the focus is on getting things. Like, well, you will get this if you do this, right? You will
Mm,
get this. So they're telling you, do this and you'll get it. Do this and you'll get it. And I find it fascinating because in conscious living, it actually all gets turned around. And it comes back into, I mentioned earlier, the mediums and the near-death experience community, these leaders. Dr. Eben Alexander, this guy is huge that had a near-death experience. He's out of Charlottesville, Virginia, or Suzanne Giesman or James Von Prague or Karen Noe. These are huge mediums that have 2 and 3 year waiting lists. And and they share of once we go beyond the veil, we're in the non-physical realm where there's nothing but life, but love and light and oneness. So that's the whole culture and context. That is what our world becomes in that realm. And as we cross over into that realm, we go through this life review. And in the life review, we're seeing all of the people, like, for example, I might see in my life review, I might experience through your eyes me. So it's not me thinking, feeling, or anything. It's you, where you're thinking, feeling, and seeing me, and what you're what emotionally is going on as I'm with you, right? That's what my life review is. So, and then you exit the life review into that whole candle in the sun, just pure light, pure love, oneness place, which is ecstatic, right? Now, the thing that the mediums encounter as their, bridges to people with the after their mother that passed or some loved one, angels and so on, is that the person often that is coming through the life review is feeling like, oh gosh, because we're feeling what others are with their emotions, right? And their emotions, a lot of times we weren't very caring, we weren't very thoughtful. We weren't, we were triggered, right? These are the human, we know these human expressions, right, on the planet. So we were that, and now we're experiencing people that were feeling that around us as we were triggered, right? And so at that life review and beyond, it was not at all about what the influencers are talking to us about, of you can get and get and get and get and get. It's all about the opposite of what did I give and give and give and give and get. Do you see? So it's a completely different, it's paradigm shifting. It's turning our whole worldview upside down in terms of what ultimate reality is, what the invitation was, how we can create real joy in our lives here and now, and then as we go through life review and so on. So this 31-day challenge, yeah, it's not some like little thing. In today's world, with the challenges that are going on, that are massive, I don't need to go through what those are. We know what they are. They're substantial, right? So this is the time where challenges are so great, the opportunities to be giving and open-hearted and in service and loving and so on are massive, right? Massive, right? So, so this is where we can come into this place of I know that I'm a divine presence. I know that, of course, I'm worthy. Of course, I have a good self-image. And sure, I made mistakes growing up, didn't we all, right? But we're forgiving of those. We can just get the whole thing turned around, and we come into this chorus of it's a beautiful day. We're literally most of the day, every day, we can actually feel like it's a beautiful day. That's really what conscious living is inviting. Even as we have challenges, and of course we do. I'm not saying the challenges go away, but I'm just saying how we embody and how we express through this whole life experience is very different. And when you've heard these terms, we're in flow, or I grew up in the Christian church, so the kingdom of heaven is here now, or the peace beyond understanding. These are things we do feel. These are things we do feel where we're living consciously.
mm. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I love that you said the kingdom of heaven is here now. It's so wonderful and easy to forget. And some of these challenges might help us, this 31-day challenge might help us with our 3D world challenges, and seeing the bigger picture, seeing how can we come from service and giving, just like what you were saying when people are passing over to the other side.
Yeah, exactly. It really, and not only will it do that, but Carissa, we were in our leadership meeting yesterday, right? We all talked, everybody on the team talks for a little bit. One of the things I was sharing is that it's like, the old records, LPs, where you put a player and there's a groove, right? And the LP, the album, right? It's just playing the album. So, and the neat thing about this conscious living thing is the more that we live into it and express it, the deeper becomes that groove, like
Mm.
the LP groove. It gets deeper. And so that without even noticing, you just realize one day, my God, this beautiful day thing has been going on for, you know, a long while. I'm in a groove. I was like, this is now a pattern that is playing out for me. And the beautiful thing too is, this is a big theme for us as we share in the humanities team, is this is not like for just the enlightened crew, or the ones that found their Bodhi tree. This is not that. No, this is for every single person on the planet is a divine expression, right? There's this diversity and unity, right? We're each a divine expression. This is not for the few. This is for everybody. This is the time. Like some people call it ascension, right? This is the time where this planet is awakening, sort of opening its eyes and going, seeing this whole new world. It's sacred, the divine in others and in themselves and in the earth, right? It's that time. And it's important for the planet to. That's how we're going to heal these challenges out in the outer world. But as I've been coming back to again and again, just for ourselves, to be in this place of beautiful day, who would, who doesn't want that, right? To live into that. We all do, of course.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. Imagine a world where we all lived with a beautiful day. So we have another comment. Brian says, we are talking about forgetting and forgiving in book 3 of Conversations with God this past Sunday. I guess he has a book club or something. That's wonderful.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Forgetting and so I was bringing that in with the whole influencer thing, right?
Hmm.
Which is getting, and it's fascinating where they're saying, now you'll get this and then you'll get that. And, just they're kind of laying down breadcrumbs. So if you get, do these things and you will get, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that there's actually some real wisdom in many of these things, but it's just that our worldview, as we come into the ultimate reality of this one body, which is divine presence itself, that we are expressions of that. That is a really different worldview. So, and it's ultimate reality, because scientists are affirming, right? They use words like entanglement, and they're saying, yes, there's entanglement. And we say, well, what does that mean? And they say, well, there's no physical connection going on here between these things across the universe, but everything's deeply affecting everything else, even though there's no physical connection. So that
Mm.
this is, and of course Einstein said that the greatest illusion in the world was the illusion of separation, right? So science is affirming all of this now. They have their own words for it, but it's that there's this one body, right? Omnipresence. We've all heard that term. Omnipresence means it's everywhere. And then omniscience means that wisdom is everywhere. Omnipotence, oh, the power is everywhere. And as we live into this conscious living thing, into that higher agenda, and we open our eyes and we see the sacred in ourselves and the earth and each other, we're lifted up then into living into this, I'll call it higher agenda or higher self with this higher intelligence. And then it all happens. That's that whole orchestra of you feel the omnipresence. The omniscience comes in, the wisdom of it's just dropping right in when as you need it. The omnipotence of I need this, but you feel we're more coming from an abundant place is part of this, right? That's part of how we feel joyful and a beautiful day is the thing we feel blessed, right? That's part of this process, and that all is coming in. So it really is. a beautiful thing. And the 31-day challenge is really going at this with these all of these different exercises that take us down into little pieces and parts of it each day.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I was wondering if we could put that in the chat. So, Facebook and YouTube, just so people can sign up now if they want. Does that sound good, Steve?
Yeah, go through it and give if you're stream members, and I know all of you in the studio are. So on in Humanity Stream Plus, notice there's a community feature, and some of you maybe haven't gone into community. You're mostly probably going into the classes and things and live programs, but notice the community. Go into community and share what you think of. Hey, I'm going through the challenge and I like this one, or any observations or what's fun, and you were mentioning the viewing party earlier, Carissa, because we went through my recent masterclass with the viewing party, which was a blast, is people were bringing their own testimonies of, yeah, and this is how it's working for me, right? And there were some really beautiful testimonies. This woman in the last program came in from Costa Rica that says, yep, I'm doing it. And I started this nonprofit and all this stuff is happening. And so bring in your own cool stuff, that relates where you're talking about, yeah, I'm way past. I mean, I definitely have good self-image. I know myself as part of the divine, where that's your truth, right? Share these things, and there's a sort of a lot of popcorning around where people are sharing what's true for them. It's fun.
Mm, yeah, that is fun. Well, you talk about becoming fluent in the language of the soul, and maybe you also consider that the higher self. What does that mean for people who are just starting out?
Yeah, so that's such a good question, Carissa, because fluent in the language of the soul. So the soul, of course, first of all, the soul is like the God residence within us, right? So that, and remember, still small voice, and we quiet ourselves, and then we hear that voice, and when we hear it and embody it and express it, and we keep doing that, that's the groove I was talking about, where the groove gets deeper and deeper. And all of a sudden you notice, my God, my life is just, I'm in a groove. I am just doing it naturally now, right? It doesn't start that way. If you know my story, I was in Silicon Valley, and a CEO and starting companies and stuff. And my girlfriend, her 30th birthday, I pulled a stale muffin out of the refrigerator and put a candle in it and said, "Happy birthday." So I, I mean, I had to go through my own growth process in all of this. But
That's real love. She stayed with you. Does she like it when you share that story?
I don't know. I should ask, you know, I should ask. I know she wasn't very happy
It
on
could
that.
be traumatized from it. I'm
Yeah,
just
probably.
kidding.
She's still probably got PTSD from that. But I mention that because what of course we emphasize in humanities team, which is so true, is see, we're all ordinary people, if you want to call it that, or turn it around, we're all extraordinary people, right? We all actually are this divine presence. It's just that we didn't grow up knowing that. So, when I grew up and I was fortunate landing in Silicon Valley and starting these companies, and, it was crazy. I mean, going through massive growth to 75 million from two guys with used furniture, with no money. I mean, we did that twice. And it was just mind blowing that experience. And then I had my awakening experience in it, and I realized I was just like playing a kid's game, just starting companies and growing them like that, where I'm just rushing past things like my girlfriend's birthday,
Mm,
just rushing. That's what when we're not living consciously, that's what we do is we're rushing past things, right? You're rushing past your pet, your partner, your kids, because you got to go do this thing. It's important, right? And then you're also living with regret of, oh, I just did these things that don't feel very good. I wasn't very kind, very thoughtful, wasn't truthful, whatever. That's kind of the not conscious world. So I had to come into this conscious world. But fortunately, as we emphasize in humanities team, is again, this is 100%. This is not for some elite. It's not a Bodhi tree thing. That for every single one of us, where we just go through the opening our eyes experience by just through the science-based programs or the spiritual programs on Humanity Stream Plus. We've got all these free programs. Incidentally, so I have a brand new free program. It's on Humanities Team up at the top, humanitiesteam.org. You can pull down the programs, and then you'll see the free program tab. Okay, and you'll see if you just go down that tab a little bit, it says the Conscious Living Blueprint, a taste of a life in flow. Uh, Go through that one. And that was just recorded this year. And it is a taste of life and flow. It just brings you right through this whole process of you kind of opening your eyes and seeing the world in a new way and starting to express in a new way. So it's a really cool program to kind of get things started if you're just going new to the journey, or if you want to deepen in your own journey and you want to go through some exercises that might help you deepen. I think you'd get a lot out of that.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's just another tool that we have for free. And of course, you get even more as Stream Plus members. We have such a great community interaction and watch parties. It's wonderful to see that grow. Well, one of the themes of Awaken in 31 Days is recognizing sacred signs and nudges. How do we know when it's the divine speaking to us or our higher self?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Just like the language of the soul, which of course is soft and thoughtful and kind and caring, right? And this one, how do we know like the nudges from the divine? So the synchronicities and things. Um, so here's one that just happened to me as we walk this one in. A lot of you know, like I bike ride every morning. This morning too, there's a lake near me called Wonderland Lake. It's about a mile and a quarter from my home. So I bike out there early in the morning because it's beautiful out there, just
Yeah.
gorgeous. There's ducks and geese, and I ran into Chris out there recently. Yeah, when I
The
was out
Liberty
there.
sighting of Steve
Okay.
Farrell, yes. I
Yeah,
wasn't stalking
well,
him.
exciting to see Carissa. Yeah, we were out there, beautiful lake. There we are walking around. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Yeah, and sometimes I'll see like a blue heron, or there was a
Mm-hmm.
bear in my yard in about 10 days. In the last 10 days, three times there have been bears in my yard. Isn't that interesting? Like,
Oh, wow. You have to look up the spiritual meaning of that.
well, that's where I was going with
Oh,
this.
good.
So I was talking to Suzanne Giesman, who's one of our really unreal mediums, and she was saying, Steve, you should make sure that that day you see the blue heron or the bear or whatever it is, go look up the meaning of that.
Hmm.
Don't 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 go past that. Take the time to go see what the meaning was, because there was actually a reason that that happened, that you saw that blue heron or that bear. And I immediately got the meaning of both of these when I went and you can Google these things, right? So this was such a great point that Suzanne was making, and this was just in the last week, So I've been on this journey for decades, as many of you have. But there are these signs, animals, feathers, rainbows, different things, people that in angelic form that'll come into your life. Stop and pay attention and notice, because there are actually things that are happening there for a reason. There's a message that's coming to you if you'll stop and pay attention. And as a matter of fact, this whole opening your eyes to a whole new ultimate reality. Uh, there is, this divine expression going on individually and collectively all the time. Everything actually is for a reason. Everything has a message. There's nothing that's random at all, to say it a different way. I mean, isn't that interesting? There's nothing random happening at all. What we've often heard, right? Something challenging happens, and your family will say, well, that probably happened for a reason, and there's probably some good that's going to come out of that, right? We've all heard these things. This is 100% true. So where challenging things are happening, it's to help you stop, to pause, to look at and to consider, and then to pivot in some new direction. That's why the challenging thing happened. And where a beautiful thing happens, a blue heron, that actually, there's a beautiful message in that blue heron, that's telling you something about yourself and your own personal growth. Uh, these things are important for you, these messages. So do pay attention. There are these they called synchronicities, little miracles, but everything where we're paying close attention actually can bring some new little bit of wisdom, some new encouragement, new inspiration, even empowerment, through these things that are happening. So do pay attention. And as you mentioned, this is one of the exercises in this 31-day Awaken challenge that goes down into that.
Now, are you going to share the meaning for you with the bear and the blue heron?
Yeah, well, the blue heron was as the blue herons are just they're very noted. They're very patient and still, right, and very patient because they'll be standing there and they can go long periods of time before they go and dart down to get a fish. So patience, kindness, stillness,
Mm.
clarity, all of these things. The bear is courage and strength. It's
Oh,
that there, could be challenges of some kind that might be coming into your life. But notice the strength, the courage, the power that you have. Stand in that, be still in that. Know that even with whatever the challenge might be, that you are way more powerful than whatever that challenge might be.
oh, I'm
Yeah,
so glad I
those are,
asked. That was powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Steve,
yeah, no, of
about the bear.
course.
Yeah. And I just wanted to mention, as a side note, on Stream Plus, we have animal communicators, and also Dr. Stephen Farmer talks about signs of animals and everything and goes deeper, and it's really profound. And I had something interesting happen to me with a praying mantis. So I haven't looked up the praying mantis, but I had an interaction with that animal. And then also yesterday was a powerful day, 999 portal according to numerology, and I kept seeing nines everywhere. They were literally jumping out at me like so it was interesting that I had that happen yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The astrology is awesome. You'll get something out of it.
Mhm.
Even your birth signs, which notice where somebody says I'm an Aries, and people will say, there is really a groove there with that, or Gemini, or Taurus, or something. And then the praying mantis is just like these other things. So go look into that. That'll be interesting to see what that message might have been. And I'm glad we're stopping on these things because this is the whole point is that we don't want to be rushing past these things. We want to actually go do the opposite, is start just even slowing down even a little more, paying a little closer attention.
Mm.
And it creates even more clarity. And this flow state thing, um, the kingdom of heaven that's here now. Notice when that was said 2,000 years ago, that was said not as this is me and I'm beating my chest. It was said as, this is something you should be experiencing. The kingdom of heaven is actually here now, right? It was shared as an eternal truth. This is how that was shared. And that's what this conscious living thing is when this what Awaken Challenge is designed to do is to go down into these deeper states where we do know ourselves as the light, where we are in the world but not of the world. That was another thing that was shared, right? So when we're of the world, then it's this roller coastery thing, right? With the news, and it's very up and down, and it's very down a lot of the time now, right? But where we're living consciously, we're maintaining that connection, uh, that deep reverence, uh, that deep intelligence, knowing, loving, connected state, service state that is that is that is our continuum, right? So we can be observing these challenging things going on around us, but it's not affecting us because we're anchored in this other place that is this eternal truth place, that's the divine place. that, I'll use the word God, of just this loving blanket that is never in absence. It's always here. And that's what we're anchored in always. So that's being in the world, but not of it. That's experiencing a kingdom of heaven that is here now. We're not have to wait till the afterlife. Certainly we'll experience it in the afterlife, but it's here right now where
Mhm.
we take the time to live into it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, and I just wanted to add another aspect to how do we know when it's the divine speaking to us, God, our higher self? I would say for me, it feels really good. I feel like a warmth, and also there's a simplicity to the message. It's not complex, it's nothing that makes me feel bad. So, those are just some of the things that I look for. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing those in, Chris, because that's it, right? It's these really very high vibration states, like in these things that you mentioned, right? Those are very high vibration feelings. So it's love, it's kindness, it's service, it's truth. So that somebody be um, uh, can be very challenged and say something really ugly to you. But you, through these exercises, you're really staying in that flow state. And instead of going to wanting to sort of be mean back, you're instead going to the notion that, wow, this person's really in a challenging place right now, right? I grew
Mm-hmm.
up with a dad who was like that, very up and down, it's super bright, genius intelligence, but was very up and down. Um, and the joke among my sibling was he was coming down the stairs. You didn't know whether you were like his angel or you had done, he was going to see you as somebody terrible that didn't left a mess or whatever. Uh, and what living consciously does is that this flow state is we're we don't go down into those we're not on the roller coaster anymore, and we're in a compassionate place. And where somebody is traumatized, triggered, and saying something, the place that we immediately go to is empathy. Is, wow,
Mm-hmm.
this person is real, something happened today or earlier in their life or somewhere where this person is really not doing well, and that's why they said what they said, right, or honked their horn or whatever. That's where we want to go. So you ask, what is the energy of this? It's very high vibration. That's how you know it's God or the divine. It's love, it's empathy, it's caring, it's open-heartedness, it's service, it's what all of the forms of light are. And light has many different forms. Sometimes it's just truth telling, like Neil Donald Walsh is an incredible truth teller. So this is the diversity and unity thing too, which is that as we look at ourselves, when we talk about being an expression of the divine, there's no one size that fits all at all, right? It's very varied. There are all of these different colors in white, right? White is actually the color that is the totality of all colors. You probably know that from science days, right?
That's so amazing. It's
Yeah,
still good to
it
have
is
that.
amazing. The black and green and purple, yes, you put them all together and you get white. Isn't that interesting? So, as we're divine expressions, we're all really different, expressing in very different ways, but all high vibration and all very beautiful.
Mm. Well, presence as power, that phrase is so compelling. How does presence open a new way of connecting with our higher selves and the divine?
Yeah, I love that because in the when we grow up with these different notions, there's the notion of power. Like I mentioned, my dad, had a senior role in something, and he'd kind of walk around with the badge of power because he had this job that was whatever. A lot of us grew up that way, where it's sort of power is sort of the alpha male that's just beating your chest and pounding the table and these things is power. It turns out that pseudo power is what that is. Pseudo power, right? Pseudo means it's not real power at all. It's somebody is expressing what they think is power, but it's not power at all. So whereas presence with this, where this deeper listening, this going into this real still place, where this um, still small voice is very clear and it's in a feeling state, and where you become, where your heart opens, where you come down into that place, and then where you act from that place. Okay, so where you are anchored in that, we've been talking about what are we anchored in? Are we in the roller coaster world? Are we anchored in, in that, in the divine presence, which is conscious living? So where we're anchored in that place, and then where we're doing something in support of, like right now, okay, this program, we're doing this program as supporting people that are on the conscious journey. All, and with Sign Network and Humanities Team, we're beaming it all over the world right now.
Hmm.
So,
And
and it's just an
hopefully
act.
people that aren't on the conscious journey and then want to jump on.
Yeah, and it's an act of service. And so
Yeah.
this is where true power, though, it comes
Mhm.
in, where, wow, get out of the way. When you are doing something in service where there's no small agenda, I'm not doing anything for myself or Charissa or anything, or we're doing this as pure support for 8 billion people on the planet because it's time to awaken. Then watch how clear the broadcast is. Watch it bounce to sites that you didn't even know it could go to. Let me give you an example. When we talked about Global Oneness Day earlier, we created a petition for Global Oneness Day in 2007, a long time ago. And the petition we were sharing all over the world because we wanted 50,000 signatures. We ended up with 52,000 actually. But when we looked at the signatures, it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? We had 162 countries where people signed that oneness petition between 2007 and 2010. There were these countries I'd never heard of in my whole life. I still have never heard of because, they're like 190 something countries. We all know Spain and France and England and stuff, but there are these little teeny itty bitty countries. And sure enough, three people like in this country and four in that one signed this oneness deck. How did they find the oneness declaration petition? I have no idea. That's power. Okay. That's the omnipotence that I referenced. If we were in a higher agenda, we're doing this for the world. I don't know how that petition got out to these islands and these places. I have no idea. It's a God thing, right? So this is true power, not pseudo power. True power will enter in where we come from presence and where we're operating into this higher agenda, where we've, I'll call it surrendered, into this higher intelligence place.
Mhm. Well, we do have a couple of comments here, but that is so amazing. It's incredible when you put that out there. There's this flow, and you just never know what's going to come back. So Gilbert says, no coincidences. I was surfing this morning. Ooh, thanks for taking us to the ocean and paused and saw three blue herons on the horizon. Oh my,
Okay,
that was
nice. There you
today.
go.
And life slows down when in nature. I agree. It is easier to be present. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And they're the animal kingdom and the earth itself have souls, right? They're a part of this one body that's sacred. So that's this conscious living
mhm,
thing where we open our eyes when we awaken and see actually that light, that love, that soul. It is in everything. The smallest insect and the largest animal and the earth itself. And as we
mm,
open our eyes into the starry sky, same thing. It's all
mm,
there are highly evolved beings out there and other beings of light, all of them. They're all part of this same one body. The Nassim Harriman, who created Forbidden Science with us, and Greg Braden and Nassim
mhm,
Harriman created the masterclass called Forbidden Science. Maybe you all have gone through it and you want to if you haven't. But he says, using his science speak, he says, we're all sovereign to the one body, which is the cosmos. It's the universe. We're sovereign to that body. You have to kind of sit with that because sovereign is usually like to a country, like you'd say, well, um, Colorado is sovereign to the United States. That's how we usually hear the word sovereign. So we don't hear it as we're sovereign to the universe. You have to kind of sit with that to sort of think about that. But what that's saying is the same spiritual teaching is that you are a part of this one divine universal body. That there's, in fact, he goes further and says, the universe can't be without you. There is no universe that you, as you look up in the sky, know that it can't exist without you. Because it's like a puzzle, right? And if there's a missing puzzle piece, they can't have the puzzle. So he says there's no universe without you, which isn't that self-empowering. That's like, wow, are you kidding me? That there can't, are you telling me that I look into the whole night sky and that can't be without me? Is that what you're telling me? And the son says, yes, yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's amazing. It is profound. Well, we have another comment. I love this conversation about animals. That's near and dear to my heart. So, someone says, just saw a mountain lion a couple days ago. Seeing a mountain lion can symbolize spiritual courage, strength, inner power, urging you to trust your instincts. And it can also symbolize protection. The specific message often depends on the context of the encounter and your personal intuition. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that. See, this is what I was sharing, where you're bringing in your own stories now.
Yeah.
So do it on Humanity Stream Plus too. Go into community, share your stories and stuff. It popcorns around, and it's encouraging and it's inspiring, and it sort of keeps us going because we don't. Carissa and I aren't here to just like do a little hour-long program. We weren't. This isn't. Oh, let's just do an hour-long program. No. The reason we're doing this and the reason we did the 31-day challenge is we think that like in today's world with all that's going on, there's nothing more important right now than this whole awakening process, conscious living process, where we can turn it around and realize it's just not about getting, that we won't be happy at the end of our life if we keep doing that. Because most of us grew up that way. But we think there's nothing more important right now than these things that we're talking about, so that we continue these things after we sign off in your own home and at work, right? And out in the world, we continue these things. And that's how we create the 2040 tipping point too, is we're all basically lighthouses for these messages. We're all expressions for these messages.
Hmm. Incredible. What an inspiring message. So after awakening in the 31-day challenge comes integration. This is where things get practical. Stillness, self-care, forgiveness. Why is integration such a vital part of our awakening?
Yeah, so integration is so that it's not just like a single dimension, right? A single dimension of, because there's a fullness to conscious living that is, me with my partner, me with Carissa and my partners at work, me with you all, right? One of the things you mentioned in integration was self-care. You said da 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 da. You were naming different features
Hmm.
of integration. So self-care. So self-care is like vital in here because when we're talking about conscious living, it's not, oh, you're so selfish. You want to do this and go get a massage and take care of yourself, or, go find some quiet time for yourself. That is not selfish. You know, Conscious living is an overflowing thing. So the way that I can be here with you all is that I've found some time for myself where I can, like going to the lake where I am by myself and where I'm in the fullness of like that light of nature and the divine, a beautiful day where I'm filling myself up with through the self-care of taking the time to ride my bike to the lake or at lunch to have a little quiet time. And all right, I've got lots of daily practices that I do, rituals also. So where I take the time to do those things, those self-care things. And then where I do those self-care things, and then I fill myself up. And then it's an overflowing thing where I come to you, where I'm here now, or doing any of these other parts of my life with my partner at work, etc. So it's an inside out job, right? This is one of the things in this book we referenced, The Inner Way, that's coming out. It's called The Inner Way, Reclaim the Truth of Who You Are and Why You're Here. It talks about how in the 17th century, Galileo turned his telescope to the heavens, right? And you probably remember the story where he realized we thought we were the center of the universe, right? You probably remember that from history. In the 17th century, they thought the Earth was the center of the universe, right? And the whole universe was revolving around the Earth. And then Galileo, with his telescope, says, "Up, we're not the center of the universe at all. Like we're in a solar system, like we're in a planet revolving around a star, which is the sun, and it's not even in the center of the universe. Like we're in some side of the universe, right?" So in the book, it's saying we turn that telescope inward. Okay, it used to be pointed outward, and that where we thought the Earth was the center of the universe. Now we're pointing the telescope inward. That we're actually not separate from life, from God, from the Earth. That's this whole conscious journey. This is the Einstein quote of the greatest illusion in the world. It's the illusion of separation. So we're turning the telescope inward, and we're realizing, oh my God, like I'm deeply connected to everything, to God, to you all, to the earth, to the stars, right? Um, and then we start seeing that divinity in everything, and that is the conscious journey. That is the conscious journey, and we're um, taking great care of ourselves first to sort of to come into the fullness of who we are. And then what naturally happens as we come into that deeper into this beautiful being state is then our doing state starts reflecting that. We've always heard right being and doing. So this is the thing. We first starts with our being state. Then our doing state is all of these beautiful things we do where we're taking good care of ourselves, where we know we're part of the sacred, where we know we're a divine expression. So doing starts reflecting the being. And
Mm.
that's what this whole flow state thing is that we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It ties into what I was going to say. The final 10 days of the challenge are about embodiment, how we bring this wisdom into our choices, actions, and every breath. So, what does it mean to embody your higher self in a lasting way?
Yeah, so your higher self, is that higher intelligence. It is that soul, right? That we say, and most people would say, yeah, well, there's a soul in all people. Even in the mainstream, they'd say, yeah, probably true. And you'd say, and the soul is maybe where the God place in you. And they'd say, most people would say, yeah, it's probably true, right? So what we're talking about is where we're not just sort of noticing something and nodding our head. We're actually living deeply into it. That God place is actually within me and within you. And that still small voice, that actually is what consciousness with a capital C or God or the divine is inviting you into. And we start expressing then that we hear it and express it, becomes a pattern. That's the LP thing. It's a deeper and deeper groove that's happening as we do it more and more and more. And then without, just like with me, I just turned around one day and noticed, I said, wow, my God, I can't even believe it. It's like I'm now, this is kind of my day every day. I didn't try and make it that. I just started doing it and paying attention, like being intentional. Let me keep doing this. And then one day came where I turned around and looked back and I just realized, my God, this just seemed to, it's just like a natural unfolding, you know? Uh, so this higher self is really where we're operating from that soul space and where it just started with just a little understanding of, yeah, there's a soul within all people. It's a God space. And I think I'll listen to it more carefully and I'll express it. And then it just, as that developed into a pattern, a day comes where that's just now your life. And you know it because it's this beautiful day, things going on all the time.
Mm. So true. Well, as this interview is coming to a close, the Awaken in 31 Day Challenge is your daily companion into conscious living. So hopefully, wherever you're watching, you got the link. Please sign up now because this starts today. And then Steve's new book, The Inner Way, will be your roadmap for reclaiming the truth of who you are. And then, of course, we have the Global Oneness Summit coming up. I just want to thank everyone for joining us for Awaken in 31 Days. And this is a gift to you. This is a free 31-day challenge. And from all of us here at Humanities Team, thank you for being a part of this movement. Your presence matters, your light is needed, and together we are creating a world that works for everyone.
Yes, we are. Yeah, thank you all. Hey, nice to be with you all. I can see, a lot of you on camera, love and peace and blessings. And Charissa, thank you. And then Jim Gray and Garth Catterall, thank you. They're our producers here today. So thank you guys. And
Yes.
again, so this is the beginning, not the end, right? Let's bring it out into the world. And, it feels so good. Why would we not?
Yeah, and I just wanted to also thank Nanette Kennedy, Eva Lee, and the rest, Dee Meyer, the rest of Humanities Team that puts all of this together. We so appreciate you, and thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you, partners and colleagues. Amen.